So, boys and girls, welcome to this chapter, planning. So, what planning is exactly? So, before we set out to do anything, we need to decide exactly what are we supposed to do, why are we supposed to do, what is the objective to be achieved, then how that objective will be achieved, what will be the various instruments or various resources that will be required. So basically we can say that planning, जब हम सब कुछ पहले सोच लेते हैं कब कहाँ क्या कब कैसे करना है, and in order to achieve what, that is all about planning. So that is why we say that planning is an answer to all W's, as is to what is to be achieved, why it is to be achieved, who is going to achieve it, where it is to be done, when it is to be done, and who is going to do it. So in a way, we can say that planning provides the answers to all the W's. The one word that we use for planning is blueprint, right? So planning provides the blueprint. Also, whenever we talk about planning, I would always prefer you people to draw a sticky figure again. So how does it go? You must have seen this in the books also. This is planning bridges the gap between where we are and where we want to be. So this is planning. So where we are right now, we are at chapter number 4, where we want to be. We want to finish up all 12 chapters and solve at least 2-3 sample papers and do some case-based studies together so that you're all set. And for that, we need to understand कि हमें किस दिन क्या पढ़ाना है, क्या topic लेना है, कितनी देर में लेना है, right? So that is all about planning, right? So I'm not going to go more. आप चाहें तो screenshots ले सकते हैं, as I have told you earlier also. Moving on to features of planning. Again, features of planning are easy. You can see the code. The code is important. DCP of MP. So यहाँ मैंने codes again कोशिश यही की है कि you are able to recall. And please do make a small mind map. Do learn the codes. So DCP of MP, D stands for, I have numbered it also here over here. So it involves decision making. Now, before I take this, I will take you to the easiest topic of this chapter, because when I take that and come back over here, you will understand this easily. So what is the easiest topic of this chapter? It is the process. And why am I taking the process? Because once you take the process, you will be able to correlate the features as well as the importance of planning with the process. तो इसको हम जल्दी से करते हैं. So the first step, so planning process comprises of 7 steps. The first step is setting objectives. Now, my dear boys and girls, keywords are important. So what are objectives? Objectives are the long-term goals of any business. There's a difference between goals and objectives. Goals are always short-term. Objectives are long-term, right? However, again, it depends on one's perspective as to what is long and what is short. For me, like usually, अगर हम life में planning करते हैं, तो हम कहते हैं 7 years, 5 years, annual, then quarter, then monthly, then weekly, and then daily. That is how the plan goes. So here, when we are talking about setting objectives, so setting objectives are long-term goals of any business. These objectives comprise of qualitative as well as quantitative aspects. So words आप लिखते चले जाइए, qualitative, quantitative. However, it has to be quantitative in nature. So qualitative aspect hoga, but it has to be mandatorily be quantitative in nature. For example, increasing the return on investment by 20% in 1 year or 2 years. That is the objective of a business. तो हमने quantify कर दिया कि return on investment बढ़ाना है, कितना बढ़ाना है? 20% बढ़ाना है. कितने duration में बढ़ाना है? 1 year में या 2 years में. So that is setting of objective. Also, objectives need to be simple, clear, realistic. Okay, you must have heard this word that goals need to be smart. Can anybody tell me what do you mean by smart? Anybody? Yeah. Simple, measurable, achievable, realistic, time bound. So objectives need to be smart, simple, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. ये words आप use कर सकते हैं. So once the objectives are set, the second step is developing premises. Now, what is premises? Premises are assumptions about the future. See, future is very uncertain. Nobody knows what's going to happen in future. So certain informed assumptions. हम सिर्फ assumptions word नहीं use करेंगे. We'll use the word informed assumptions. So what do you mean by informed assumptions? As to what has happened in the past, what are the probabilities of the things happening in the future? Business environment हमने पढ़ा था. So how is the environment changing? What are the things that may happen in future? So whenever planning is done, changes that might happen or that might occur in future, or always taken into consideration. That is called as developing premises, because the planners need to know if this change happens in the environment, how are we going to alter our plans? So plan A, B, C, D ready rehta hai as per the changes taking place in the environment. All right. The third one is, so next 4 steps, these 4 steps are correlated. Third is identifying alternative courses of action. There are various ways and methods of achieving the objectives. All those ways and methods need to be listed down. Then evaluating these alternative courses of action. All these methods and ways which have been listed down need to be compared and evaluated. And evaluated on the basis of what? On the basis of SWOT analysis. You people have done SWOTs, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and cost benefit analysis. Cost benefit का मतलब क्या होता है? कॉस्ट हम कितना लगाएंगे और इससे हमें बेनिफिट क्या मिलेगा इस प्लान से. सो इवैल्यूएशन नीड्स टू बी डन ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ SWOT and cost benefit analysis. After this evaluation is done, the best plan needs to be selected. And this plan may be one particular plan, or it may be a combination of various other plans. So, best things about from different plans may be taken, and one plan may be, one new plan may be put up. So selecting the best alternative. So this is not just an alternative, the best alternative. And once it is selected, it needs to be implemented. Ab implemented ka matlab kya hota hai beta? Implemented means it needs to be communicated to everybody in the organization that this is the blueprint, this is what we are going to follow. So as I said, giving the answers to all the questions comes in implementing. So communicating to everyone that these are the plans which are, this is a plan which needs to be followed in an organization, and making them understand it. That's called implementation. And the last one is follow-up. So follow-up is merely implementing or communicating is not going to help. It needs to be ensured that the plans are being followed. That means people are working as per what has been already decided. Okay? So it's very important to understand this, and it's very, very easy. Now, one more thing, agar कभी आप में से कोई स्टूडेंट अगर ऐसा है जिसको you're not very comfortable with language, तो आप क्या कर सकते हो? At least if you will draw this flow chart, and please draw this flow chart minus this. You don't have to draw these spirals. सीधा एक step, then arrow, then second step and arrow, right? This is how you're going to draw the flow chart. तो अगर आप theory में कुछ भी like थोड़ा थोड़ा जो कनेक्टेड है वो लिख दोगे तो भी आपको फुल ऑन मार्क्स मिल जाएंगे इसमें, बिकॉज हाफ द मार्क्स आर फॉर headings. Okay, now that I have done with you the process, I'll take you back to the features, because features are related with this, even if even the importance are related with this. All right, so here we come back to features of planning. So पहला feature क्या है? Involves decision making. अभी हमने step किया था, the best plan needs to be selected. So managers are always encountered with the choices of various alternatives, and they have to select the best alternative. That is why planning involves decision making. In सारे steps को, सारे features को आप please correlate कीजिएगा उससे. So right, so this is how it involves decision making. C stands for continuous activity. Every function of management is continuous because management in itself is continuous. So when one plan ends, the second starts. When the second ends, the third starts, and it goes on and on. So continuous. P stands for primary function. Out of 5 functions of management, planning is the first function. It is called as the blueprint, and it paves the way for all other functions. That's why it's primary. O stands for, where is it? O kahan gaya? Achieving objectives. Planning aims at achieving objectives. देखो हम जितने भी 5 फंक्शंस कर रहे हैं ना, इनफैक्ट मैनेजमेंट ही क्यों करना है? मैनेजमेंट इज अ गोल ओरिएंटेड एक्टिविटी. द पर्पस ऑफ मैनेजमेंट इज टू अचीव गोल्स और ऑब्जेक्टिव्स. सिमिलरली द पर्पस ऑफ प्लानिंग आल्सो इज टू अचीव ऑब्जेक्टिव्स. अगेन प्रोसेस में हमने पहला स्टेप क्या किया था? सेटिंग ऑफ ऑब्जेक्टिव्स. तो पूरा जो खेल है वो ही सेटिंग एंड अचीविंग ऑफ ऑब्जेक्टिव्स है. देन F stands for futuristic. Planning is futuristic. We always plan for the next moment. We are living in this moment and we plan for the next moment. अगले घंटे में क्या करना है? अगले दिन क्या करना है? अगले week क्या करना है? So it's always futuristic in nature. M stands for, which is not given over here. Can anybody tell me what is M? It stands for mental exercise. Planning is a mental exercise. It involves a lot of foresight, lot of decision making, lot of analysis, lot of data collection, research, and that is why we call it as a mental exercise. So planning is a mental exercise. And P, the last P is pervasive. Planning is all pervasive. all the levels of managers plan. आप भी plan करते हो अपनी life में, मैं भी plan करती हूँ. Your mother's plan. Your mother has to plan what will the next meal she is going to cook. So planning is present everywhere in everyone's life. So those are the 7 features of planning, taking you down to importance of planning. The code is Dr. Sodi. You will be meeting 2 doctors over here. So one is Dr. Sodi over here, then other doctor is going to come later on. So Dr. Sodi here, the first D again. So the first D is planning provides direction. We just did that planning is the primary activity. And it tells everyone what is to be done, how it is to be done. So planning provides direction to all other functions of the organization, all other activities, all other individuals in an organization, they are given direction by planning only. Then R, it reduces the risk of uncertainty. कैसे? हमने अभी किया था planning premises. Informed assumptions are made about the future. So when you already have made an estimate as to what wrong, what good and bad can happen in the future. कल बजट आने वाला है, तो बजट में किस किस सेक्टर में अच्छा बजट आने की उम्मीद है, किस सेक्टर में the budget will go down. अभी मिडिल क्लास के लिए टैक्स रेट बढ़ा देंगे या कम कर देंगे, स्लैब बढ़ा देंगे या कम कर देंगे, आप ऑलरेडी अज्यूम करके उसके लिए अपने प्लान्स को रेडी कर चुके हो. सो दैट इज व्हेन यू सी यू कैन नॉट चेंज द एनवायरमेंट. You cannot change the decisions, but what you can do is you can change your actions. So in order to encounter the uncertainties, you have already planned, and that is how you reduce the risk of uncertainty. Then third goes down to Dr. Sodi. S is planning establishes a standard for controlling. तो controlling में जब हम जाते हैं तो ये जो benchmarking है, setting of objectives जो है वो यहाँ पे ही set हो जाता है. So what, when, how, where, why, it is all decided over here. तो standards आपने यहीं पे set कर दिए हैं that what is the objective which is needs to what is supposed to be achieved. So standards are set up in planning. So without planning, there is no scope or no scope for controlling. Then O stands for, as is given here, right in front of you. It is gone.
Overlapping and wasteful
Overlapping,
activities.
yes. Overlapping. Thank you so much. It stands for, it reduces overlapping and wasteful activities. So again, when there is absolute clarity as to how the work needs to be done and who is going to do it, the people perform their respective activities and there is no overlapping or wastage of resources. D stands for facilitates decision making. Abhi humne function mein bhi kiya, it's a mental exercise, it involves decision making. So same here, it facilitates decision making because out of various plans, the best plan needs to be chosen. So it involves decision making. And the last one, it promotes innovative idea. One plan once made is not going to work again and again. It has to be tweaked, it has to be modified, it has to be remade. So that is why it involves a lot of innovation, and that's why we say that planning involves innovative ideas. ठीक है? So इस कोड को अच्छे से याद कर लेना है. Dr. Sodi. Taking you down to the limitations.
Okay, ma'am.
So the limitations, as I said, you are going to meet another doctor. Here we have Dr. Dirt. ठीक है जी? Dr. Dirt. So first D is your dynamic planning. I did not have the time to tweak this. I told you that I was not keeping well. So I just could not, put numbers and everything in all the slides. So you'll have to manage this way. So the first one, Dr. Dirt. First D stands for dynamic environment. Planning may not work in dynamic environment. We know that business environment is extremely dynamic. It changes from minute to minute, hour to hour, and planning may not work in this kind of environment. Now, again, the best current example is that of Mahakumbh, the stampede that happened day before yesterday. Itni meticulous planning, itna acha arrangement, and still, as per the government records, official records, 30 people lost their lives. That is how environment is dynamic. कब कहाँ क्या हो जाएगा आपको पता नहीं है. And all you can do is cope up, come up with immediate plan कि ठीक है, now we have to do this. So immediate action is required. And so we say that कितनी भी planning कर लो, कभी कभी सारी planning रखी रह जाती है. It may not work in dynamic environment. R stands for rigidity. Planning leads to rigidity. Now, why we say that plans are rigid or planning leads to rigidity? Why? Because, once the plans are made, you cannot keep on changing them again and again. कि अब भाई ये decide हो गया, इसको follow कर लो, बार बार change नहीं कर सकते हैं, right? So it leads to rigidity. एक बार बन गया, because planning is pretty expensive also, which you will come again over here. So once plans are made, they are followed as it is, despite the changes that are taking place. So it's not कि with every change the plan has to be changed. Plan को तब बदलना पड़ेगा जब हालात इतने बदल गए कि आपके पास और कोई ऑप्शन ही नहीं है. But with every change in the environment, the plans are not changed, and that is how they lead to rigidity. Then another D, I'll take you to the next slide. Another D is does not guarantee success. Planning does not guarantee success. Now, what we have over here, it says that most of the times what happens, managers rely on the previously tested and implemented plans. And they don't, they think that if this plan has worked in the past, this is going to work in the future also. But it is not a guarantee of success. So previous plans may not work in the present circumstances at all. That is one thing. And second is, despite having put in your heart and soul, you may not be able to achieve the objectives as you have planned. Why? Again, because planning is so uncertain. Sorry, environment is so uncertain and planning is futuristic. तो आपने सारे जोड़ तोड़ लगा लिए, सारे assumptions कर लिए, still things may go wrong. Again, coming on to the latest example of Mahakumbh, सब कुछ सोच समझ के किया था, इतना करने के बाद भी कहीं ना कुछ गड़बड़ हो ही जा रही है. 2 instances हो चुके हैं ऐसे. So that is why planning does not guarantee success. But here we give one statement. We say failing to plan is planning to fail. That means हमें पता है कि planning is not a guarantee of success. Still you need to plan, because if you don't plan, then one thing is guaranteed. Then you have a guarantee of failure. So failing to plan is planning to fail. That statement you use over here. Okay, so it does not guarantee success. One sec, I'll take you back over here. So what have we done? Dynamic ho gaya, rigidity ho gaya. Another is does not guarantee success. Then Another I is involves huge cost. Planning is an extremely expensive exercise. It consumes time, money, energy. It's a highly intellectual process. It's not you sit down and it is done. Like if people, the students out of you who have been a part of, organizing some kind of an event, planning takes a lot of time. And sometimes, it takes so much of time and expense that the effect or the result may not be that benefying. So it involves huge cost. That is I. Going back, another R is reduces creativity. How does planning reduce creativity? See, plans are usually made by one party and followed and implemented by the other party. Like when we were doing about the process, who is going to sit down? Who is the think tank of the company? Is it the workers who are going to decide? क्या तुम लोगों ने decide किया था तुम्हें क्या syllabus पढ़ना है? कितने subjects पढ़ने हैं? No, you did not decide. It was the board that decided. Did the teachers decide? No. So the board has decided by students को ये subjects पढ़ने हैं, ये syllabus पढ़ना है. आपके पास choice नहीं है. आप नहीं कह सकते कि नहीं हमें नहीं पढ़ना, या हम 12 में से सिर्फ 6 चैप्टर्स पढ़ेंगे. पढ़ना ही पड़ेगा. तुम्हारी अपनी क्रिएटिविटी क्या है? राइट नाउ यू आर लर्निंग दीज पॉइंट्स. डॉक्टर डर्ट, यही हेडिंग लर्न करना है. इसमें क्या क्रिएटिविटी आ रही है? कुछ नहीं. सो पीपल हैव ऑलरेडी डिसाइडेड फॉर यू व्हाट यू हैव टू डू एंड यू जस्ट हैव टू फॉलो इट लाइक अ मशीन. दैट्स व्हाई वी से दैट इट रिड्यूसेस क्रिएटिविटी. Plans are made by the seniors, followed by the juniors at all the level, and there is no creativity that is involved in that. And the last T is time consuming. Planning is time consuming. We know it takes a lot of time to plan. Okay, sometimes we say that so much of time is taken in planning that there is hardly any time left for execution. कभी कोई group activity भी करते हो तो कई बार ऐसा टाइम होता है कि planning में आपको 10 minutes का टाइम दिया, आपने 8 minutes ले लिए planning में. You just have 2 minutes for execution. You can do nothing in 2 minutes. So that is also one demerit of or limitation of planning, right? And then moving on to the last topic, which is the most important one, which is types of plans. So basically, beta, types of plans में से हमारे पास question आता है, which I will be taking. But before that, let's go through types of plans फटाफट से. So there are two kinds of plans we know, single-use plans and standing plans. That's the broad category of plans, right? So single-use plans are the ones which can be used only for one time, and then they will have to be redone. They have to be tweaked, they have to be processed, they have to be modified to be used again. And standing plans are the ones which are repeat plans, which can be used again and again. Okay. Yeah, modification is required there also, but they can be used again and again. Features of single-use and standing plans are there right on front of your screen. So single-use plans are used once. They are prepared to meet the demand of a specific situation. They are discarded or done away with once they have been used. Like this is important. This is the most important thing. So what are single-use plans? Budgets, programs, projects. Project is not in your syllabus, so you can leave it. Budget and program, these are single-use plans. And standing plans, recurring plans, which can be modified, used again and again. They are stable in nature. And this is an important word again, guidelines. They act as guidelines for smooth working. And इसमें क्या क्या आता है? Policy, procedure, rules, methods. They are your standing plans. Most important thing, strategy and objectives. These two plans are neither single-use nor standing. Okay, so they don't fall in any category. All in all, we have 8 plans. जिसमें से budget and program आ गया हमारा single-use plan में. Policy, procedure, rules, and methods. 4 of them come in standing plans, and strategy and objective is neither single-use nor standing plan. Types of plans, I have already told you. Let's go through them quickly. So what are objectives? Objectives are called as the end goals. They are the ways and the means. It's important for you to check out the words that we use over here. अगर बेटा सिर्फ इतना ही लिखते हो ना जितना आपकी स्क्रीन पे है, you get full on marks. I guarantee you that you get full marks even if you write just as much as on your screen right now. So what are objectives? These are the end points. And endpoints need to be numerically expressed. Setting of objectives में मैंने आपको बताया था, objectives are qualitative as well as quantitative. But it is damn important to have them in quantitative terms. Okay? So objectives need to be smart. जो पहले बताया वो पूरा यहाँ पे आपको आ जाएगा. Okay? So this is important again. Features क्या है? It is the guideline for overall. एक word आप और यहाँ पे use कर सकते हो. Objectives are the ways and the means. Okay, so objectives include the ways and the means. So objectives is not just about setting, or objectives doesn't only tell you what is to be achieved. It also tells you how it is to be achieved. Because हमने कहा ना कि the best plan needs to be selected and implemented. So it serves as a guide. It's a primary function. Objectives is the primary plan. सबसे पहले objectives को set किया जाता है, and all other plans are set in the light of the objectives only. And objectives are usually set by the top level management, though the other levels may have their own departmental objectives. But if we talk about the organizational objectives, they are always set up by the top level management, right? Strategy is very important. देखो strategy का मैं आपको समझा दूं. Strategy is basically a military term. So this word strategy has been taken from military, the defense forces. Strategy means changing your tactics in the light of the tactics or movements of your competitors or enemy. So, जब हम फौज की बात करते हैं, डिफेंस फोर्सेस की बात करते हैं, आपको अपने प्लान्स चेंज करने होते हैं कि आपका दुश्मन क्या कर रहा है, आपका एनिमी क्या कर रहा है, उसके अकॉर्डिंगली आपको अपने एक्शंस, अपनी प्लानिंग करनी होती है. दैट इज कॉल्ड एज अ स्ट्रैटेजी. सो एज योर कॉम्पिटिटर्स विल कीप ऑन चेंजिंग देयर मूव्स, यू हैव टू चेंज योर मूव्स. ओके, सो स्ट्रैटेजी इट्स अ कॉम्प्रीहेंसिव प्लान. ये वर्ड जो है हम 2-3 प्लान्स में यूज करते हैं. सो स्ट्रैटेजी इज अ कॉम्प्रीहेंसिव प्लान, and the purpose is to achieve the organizational objectives. There are 3 dimensions to strategy which you should definitely know. So first, it involves determining long-term objective. Second, adopting a particular course of action. That is the best course of action. And third, allocation of resources for achieving the objectives. So इसमें ध्यान रखना कि जब भी strategy के बारे में लिखोगे 3 चीजों को लिखना जरूर. Determining long-term objectives. Second is selecting the best plan or alternative. And third is allocation of resources to achieve those objectives, right? Now you can see the examples. Examples are so very important, beta, because इससे ही आप case studies अच्छे से कर पाओगे. So making a choice of the advertising medium media, that which advertising media needs to be chosen, because advertising media keeps on changing from time to time depending upon the circumstances. That's a strategy. Sales promotion techniques. These are again strategy. Channels of distribution to be used. Okay. Then all this comes under strategy. We also say that it is the blueprint of the business and provides an outline of the business. ये आपको case study identify करने में मदद करेगा, तो इसको ध्यान रखिएगा. Blueprint basically is not the appropriate word because blueprint is used for planning as a whole. So we can say that it is a guideline or it is an outline which helps in achieving the objectives. And I have told you that these are influenced by business environment. So that is 2 down. Objectives and strategy, which are neither long-term nor standing plan, not a single-use plan, neither a standing plan. Moving on to policies. So you must have heard this word, it's a policy matter. Jaise promotion from one class to another is a policy matter. So what is a policy? Keywords are, it's a general guideline. And guideline about what? It's a general guideline that directs or guides thinking and action. Particularly, we say that policies are guidelines which help the managers in taking routine decisions. Routine decisions in the sense, जो decision time and again लेना पड़ेगा. जैसे for example, if a student has not come to school for 3 consecutive days, the school policy says that the teacher will give a call, and still if the student doesn't turn up, the student's name can be terminated from the school records. That is the policy. कितना ट्रेड डिस्काउंट देना है कितने वॉल्यूम पे, दैट्स अ पॉलिसी. कैश डिस्काउंट देना है या नहीं देना है, दैट्स अ पॉलिसी. सो व्हाट इज अ पॉलिसी? इट इज अ जनरल गाइडलाइन that guides thinking and decision making in recurring circumstances. So it brings uniformity in decision makings. Again, example देख रहे हैं, admission policy of educational institutes, recruitment policy, pricing policy. तो जहां पे भी word आता है कि हमें ये बार बार करना ही पड़ता है, साल दर साल करना पड़ता है, तो हम as it is या तो पिछला follow करेंगे या कुछ modifications के साथ करेंगे. That's called as policy. Important words again, these are based on objectives. Beta, every plan is based on objective, right? And this is a guideline to the managers for decision making. ये जो third point है, ये आपके लिए important है. It defines broad parameters. Broad parameters. This is a very important plan. It provides broad parameters within which a manager may function. Moving on to procedure. Procedure is a standing plan. And what is a procedure? Procedure is process. And whenever we say procedure or process, it means there are certain steps. It consists of a series of steps which needs to be followed as it is.